Personally, it would have been with somebody else in the in the team. So thank you so much for those of you that have joined. My name is Monica Fowler, and I'm the Talent Acquisition Marketing Specialist at Enterprise Mobility. And today's session will be about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer if we go over, just to go through some Q&A. Feel free to put some information in the chat about any questions that you may have about the company. So really the session is to gain insight on whether or not this role is suited for you, whether or not you can see yourself working with us as an employer of choice. And hopefully, from what you hear today, we will be. So we're going to go ahead and make a start. So welcome again to everybody. Feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat as I go along. We will have some time at the end to answer some questions, but to start off with, obviously, go ahead and ask any questions that you may have in the chat. So a little bit about our company. First of all, as a company information session, we want to start off with sharing information about our company. So you may have recognized us as Enterprise, the Enterprise Rent-A-Car brand, which is our largest brand, but we're a little bit more than that. We are Enterprise Mobility, and a bit of numbers here for those of you that like to see a bit more insight into the scale and the size of a company. And I'm really proud to share with you these numbers because as a tenured employee, I have started as a graduate management trainee as well. And I started when the business which was much smaller. So for me to be able to share these numbers are really excited. The jobs that we have today range from the graduate management trainee program. Our internships and our placements for this year have now been filled, but you will have those opportunities to apply for the undergraduate placement and undergraduate internships for next year if you are a year one student or perhaps going into year two with maybe a year in industry attached to your degree. Those roles all require a full UK and manual driving license. If you do not have a full UK and manual license, you will need to obtain one before applying. I just want to make sure that you're all aware of the eligibility for that. We do make exceptions for anybody who has any medical conditions, of course, because we're a very inclusive company. But we do have other roles that are not through the graduate management training program that we will have posted on our website, maybe around customer service, maybe a bit more specific around claims, and also some automotive roles. But you want to look on our website for that. But really today, most of you, I believe, will be interested in the graduate management training program. So just be aware of the eligibility to save you having that time to go through the full application process. So back to the numbers here. We have some fantastic numbers to share. We're a very large business, very profitable. $38 billion in revenues, what the company generated last year in revenue, and this is our a big record for the business, and we just go from strength to strength because of the business strategy that we've incorporated many years, just really listening to our customers, and we have the best talent, of course, in the business, finding solutions for customers. We have over 90,000 global team members and in over 90 different countries and territories. We are also one of the largest, or the largest in terms of locations, with over 9,500 rental locations. A really healthy investment grade, so it means that customers want to do business with us. And we have been voted as the seventh largest privately held company in the US, with a fleet size of 2.4 million. So we have lots of transportation options for customers and 300 plus different makes and models. So already there you have a good insight to the scale and the size of the company that Enterprise Mobility represent. And I like this slide. I like to share this slide because you can really see the different brands that fall under the Enterprise Mobility corporate brand. So I mentioned already Enterprise Rent-A-Car, which is the one on the top left. That's where I joined. That's where you'll be joining us as a graduate management trainee, or if you join us as an intern. For most of you, that's where you'll start your career, like I did. And even our CEO, Chrissy Taylor, she joined as a as a placement student. And all of the different brands here specialize in a specific business need. So we've got some of our airports locations. Those are really tailored to our airport customers. We also have our budget brand, Alamo. We have Integral, which is focused around providing claim solutions. So we're more than just rental car. We've got claims technology, fleet management. We also have an exotic car collection, which is where all of our supercars and premium vehicles are managed. Those are for our VIP customers, and that's based just outside of London, Heathrow Airport. We also have truck rental, flexi rent, which is for those customers that have long-term business needs. That's a B2B type of product. We have car share, which is our long-term, I'm sorry, our hourly car rental. So for those that customers that no longer have vehicles and they need to hire a vehicle for short-term basis, that's one of their needs. We have car sales and a very similar car club, as I mentioned. And that plus sign is exciting because for a tenured employee like me, means that within all of the different brands that fall under the Enterprise Mobility corporate brand, there is an opportunity for advancement without having to change jobs. So if I wanted to work in the integral business, I can do that without having to look for a new role in a different company, which is really exciting and definitely should be something really exciting for you as you're considering careers. So this session is all about sharing with you more information about Enterprise that perhaps you didn't know, perhaps you weren't aware of. Um, Debunking some myths, of course, but also giving you some advice on the application process because the aim for me, of course, from today is that you would have heard something that sits with you and really encourages you to want to apply. And of course, we'd want you to apply. We want you to do well. So this is the aim of the call today. We'd like to share our values, and I'm not going to read every single one, but our values are really important to us. We don't just have these on our website and to make them look good. We absolutely live and breathe by these in everything that we do, regardless of the role, of the tenure of the employee, regardless of the department. We really live and breathe by these values, and it's really important as a recruiter when I go into university lectures and present on interview techniques and advice is to emphasize on doing the research, the necessary research on a company to not only for you to be prepared and ready to answer those interview questions, but also to show and demonstrate your genuine interest in the role. Having a bit of insight and having a bit of reflection on which one of these values best sits and aligns with yours, to be able to share that in an interview is a fantastic way to generally demonstrate your interest for the role because as an employer, we understand that we won't be the only employer that you're applying for. And so we want to know what's different about Enterprise and what makes Enterprise a choice, a top choice for you, for your employer. And I would say that when you read through the values and you identify and pick a value that aligns with you, it's a really great way to demonstrate that in an interview. So there's a lot that we do as a business outside of our core areas. So you've seen the car fleet and truck rental, hourly car club, exotics. But outside of our day jobs, our company invests hugely in our future. And the company is always invested financially. And we even have employee network groups that take time out of their workday. The company does offer a paid day off a year for anybody who wants to spend a day with their charity. And these are some of the different initiatives that we run across the company. And these are just some. We obviously offer a lot more, but these are some of the biggest initiatives. Fill Your Tank is an initiative to end food poverty across our local communities. And so the branches and the employees get together to help support some of those organizations. We also have our 50 million tree pledge, and that was founded or created to offset the fuel emissions that clearly a company like Enterprise, being automotive, will be attributing to in terms of emissions. So that pledge is still going to plant 50 million trees. We also have invested hugely on sustainable mobility, and this is really big for our customers and of course our future employees is understanding how can we as a business have a more sustainable approach to doing what we do today. And we've invested in a lot of um, electric vehicles. I myself, as a company car user, have a hybrid. So really investing in a lot more alternative ways to travel for our customers. So we are always looking at different ways. We work closely with councils, local governments to make sure that we are inside, we really fit inside of the strategies for those local authorities, whether that be for the customers or for the maybe council offices, employees that need to travel that don't have vehicles. We complement the current transportation arrangements for those cities like London, if anybody is in London, where you might see our car club, our car. So one of the designated areas where anybody who's a member can come and collect a vehicle at any time through the membership and pick up a vehicle without having to go into an office. And then, of course, mobility as a service. This is where there's connectivity between all of the vehicle fleets that we have through form of technology. And it just creates a more efficient way of managing our fleet and communications as well between customers. Another thing about Enterprise that I'm really proud to talk about is how diverse and inclusive we are. This is a quote from our executive chairman, Andy Taylor, and you can read it. I won't read it, but really it represents how important it is to be an inclusive employer and how important it is that everyone feels that they can thrive by being their true selves at work. And this has always been something that the company has believed, and also within the business functions, we have lots of network groups where you can bring your own voice, create some maybe some feedback on how the business can do better. We do lots of listening sessions, and it's just a great way to contribute and to share your feedback, but also for the business to organize. We do lots of events where we organize events to maybe celebrate a significant holiday or cultural tradition, which brings people together. It's always usually around foods, and we're all a very social bunch. And we've obviously met some people, some friends outside of our own sort of circles that we're used to because we've put these events together, which is fantastic to see. Last year, I'm proud to share that we had over 22,000 team members promoted either through promotions or various positions that they took, which is huge when you think about it. And that's really exciting for me as a tenured employee, as I've already mentioned, to know that there are still so many promotions happening. And it really doesn't mean just because you've maybe got yourself into a middle management role that's it. That's where, you'll have to wait for your manager to get promoted or to move on before you move on. There's so many side steps. There's so many roles that perhaps that are open this year that weren't open last year, or new ones that are going to come up because of the growth mindset of the business. And that brings me lots of excitement. It's encouraging, and it's just really makes things a lot more exciting in a role, because that there's always going to be something new, maybe a new business launched, or acquisitions, and you just never really know. And that's what one of the things that I most enjoy about the business as well. I've seen some questions in the chat, which is great. I'm glad some of you have already started to contribute and ask your questions on there. Thank you very much. I am going to spend some time covering some of those. Those of you that have joined me a little bit later after I started off, we will probably finish just after 7:30 with some time for some Q&A. And this is mainly about the application process. Of course, some information as I've just been sharing about the company and also eligibility as well. So for the graduate management trainee role, as well as the placement role, if you're looking for that for the next year, we do require a full UK manual driving license, unless it's for medical reasons, as eligibility criteria to apply for the role. And that's because we are going to be, you're going to be doing lots of driving in the role and starting off in one of our businesses to begin with. So you can see in this slide is some of our awards, and we're really proud to share these because these represent how the focus and all of the development that we've had into our graduate management trainee program, and more specifically in this one, the first one here, our internship program. So if you just listen for this to this stat for, or not stat, but this fact for a moment. So for the last 2 years, Enterprise Mobility has been ranked first amongst hundreds of other employers that offer internships by students. So this is us presenting an application or a submission in on how great we think we are. But these are real surveys, real real feedback from students who have completed our training program on what they think about the program. So we're really proud to have had that ranking first place against hundreds. And that is really, as I said, true to the testament of the development, the structure, the reward, the recognition, the involvement, especially as interns, you're not just coming in to do casual or admin work. You're going to be making an impact really soon. And so are you as a graduate management trainee, of course. We've been voted by the Times Top 100 Graduate Employers in 2024. And we've also been voted at the National Recruitment Awards as the Graduate Employer of the Year. So really proud of those accomplishments. We've got lots more, but these are some of the main ones that we wanted to share with you today. Now, for the next part, I want to go into a bit more detail about the graduate management trainee role and what exactly you'll be doing. Sometimes I get asked that question, what exactly are you going to be doing as a trainee? The job description gives me a little bit of an insight, but what exactly am I going to be doing day to day? We've got lots of resources on our YouTube channel, and we've got lots of resources there where I've run sessions like this today, usually with a colleague who is doing the job today. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to source someone today to join me, but there are definitely recordings where you can just pick the maybe the date or pick one that you fancy. You could always look at shorts. We've got lots of short videos around employability, but also a day in the life of video. So lots of really great resources there. So I would make sure that you go onto our YouTube channel if you haven't already. So let me go on to the next bit here about the graduate management trainee. So we have compiled 5 reasons why we believe you should join us, and what really you will develop as a graduate management trainee. First one, of course, is that this is a training program to teach you how to run a business from the ground up. So of course you're going to be understanding how the business functions, from customer service at first to then going to a bit more detail around the sales and marketing, and then logistics and balance sheets. You will also be looking at HR, conversations, difficult conversations, training, development, motivations. You also learn a lot more about yourself, which kind of brings me to the next one. Develop professional skills. Not everybody has worked in a professional environment before they join us. So when you come in, because this is a customer-facing role, you're going to develop a lot of professional skills. So how to speak to clients, and how to be flexible with your communication styles depending on your audience, how to work as part of a team, how to manage through conflict, how to motivate a team, how to have difficult conversations, how to improve, those are all different, how to improve perhaps your organization skills, your timekeeping. These are all fantastic skills that you're going to develop, your professional skills, which obviously you could take with you further in life. They're not just applicable for enterprise. And for me, this was one of the reasons why I stayed with Enterprise so early on. I knew this was going to be a career, long-term career for me, long-term company I was going to invest in because I met early on some of my best friends that I'm friends with today. We have some fantastic relationships internally where we've grown together because everyone starts at the beginning and look and works their way up. Everyone is going through the same graduate management training program. So you're working together, you're going through some challenges, you're going through some training, you're going through some promotions together. And it really just is such a fantastic opportunity to obviously gain a bigger network, but also gain that support system that will help you in your journey. Because everyone has joined the graduate management trainee program. Um, so those ahead of you, that be your another trainee that's 2 months ahead of you, or maybe your assistant manager, or your branch manager, or your area manager. We've all started at the same level, so we'll sort of create a support system of knowledge and advice and sound checking. And I know that I can pick up the phone and ring a colleague to say, oh, here's a situation I have, here's how I'm thinking of solving it. What would you do? Or, I need some advice on, how to interpret this report. Or, there's so many ways that so many opportunities within the day of people that are there to help you and support you. It's not just in some roles, it can be quite competitive. And I've had this feedback before, where sometimes in a work culture, you feel like you're competing against each other. You don't want to share your best, your best practices. You want to keep your trade secrets to yourself. So you're not really that chatty and friendly. And if it is, it's quite superficial to your colleagues. Well, this is not the case at Enterprise. And we kind of see through that. And we really call it out early on if we're not sharing, if we've got our own sort of agenda, because we're really only as good as each other, as a team. So we already embrace that culture, that genuine belief that we have a support system to do better and to improve and to help each other. And of course, what's really important to us all is to make sure that we're being rewarded for the hard work, that be financially, but also through promotions. And that was our founders' really, vision, is to make sure that there were plenty of opportunities for advancement for all of our employees. And that's why we have such a strong growth model where we're opening new branches and stores across the UK. That's why we have a year-round hiring process, because there's loads of opportunities. As an assistant manager gets promoted to a branch manager, that branch manager then gets promoted to area manager, or maybe working in a specialized department. There's so many ways to develop after that training program in management that it just means that there's vacancies and opportunities being opened up, which is really exciting. So hopefully those 5 reasons have already encouraged you to consider putting your application in. But if not, I do want to share with you this what we call career timeline. And I'd encourage you all to either take a screenshot or take a look at it, just really study it, because if you are going to make your application, it won't be the only time you see this, but I really want you to be able to talk about this in your interview, because this is for us so exciting that you have a really structured career map of where you're going to go as a graduate management trainee or intern after you join. It's not just, well, you can get to trainee to assistant manager, and then from there we'll have to wait and see how the business goes and see how this person develops. No, this is a very clear timeline. You know where you're going to be so starting here as an intern. Our CEO started off as an intern, Chrissy Taylor. Some we have obviously some of our trainees, or some of our new hires are interns, especially now in the summer. Some are through the graduate management training program. So we hire close to 2,000 graduates every year, and about 400 interns every year that go into our rental operations out of 450 locations. So once you're placed there, you'll be given a structured training program. It's a learning by doing. So you're going to be learning how to run the business, exceeding in some of these areas of the business through an online training, which we're going to be providing you some in some classroom, but some online. Most of it is online sorry, learning by doing, but your training manual, the manual that you'll be given to make sure that you're on track is online. And once you pursue the different areas and categories of that training, you'll then progress to management assistant. Management assistant is given usually about 10 to 12 months within the role. And that means you're qualified to become a manager. So that's your first promotion. So that's thinking about that. I said between 10 to 12 months. And if everyone learns at their own pace. So if you wanted to complete, let's say you have already some professional experience, you have some management experience, and you wanted to set yourself a goal of completing the training in 7 months. Well, that is absolutely fine. As long as you complete the requirements, then you can get to management assistant within 7 months. We're not going to stop you. And the same way for someone who's maybe a bit slower learner, it takes a little bit longer, maybe want to take the 12 months that it should take, then that's absolutely fine as well. After you become management assistant, you can then start applying for your first assistant manager role. So as assistant manager, your roles and responsibility will change a little bit. So as a management assistant and a trainee, you're learning the business. You're still very much very, very heavy customer service focus. You're helping customers with their reservations. You're helping customers with their queries, telephone reservations, answering some questions with regards to maybe their invoices or maybe a rental, making those reservations. Or you might be understanding how the logistics work. So how do we assign vehicles to our customers? Or you might be try we ask for the driving license because you might be delivering vehicles to our corporate clients with another colleague, or you might be picking a customer up from their home or office and bringing them back to our office to pick up their rental vehicle, or you might be visiting a client or customer on a sales call or a marketing call. So all of these are different things that you'll be doing in a day. No day is the same. You'll be given an area of responsibility really early on as well with training, and then you're going to be given the autonomy to run that area of the business. It could be around customer service, where we want to hear your feedback on how the business can improve. So once you become assistant manager, typically it takes another year. Maybe you might move to another branch, a bigger branch, but the aim is to become a branch manager within 2 years of starting the business. So thinking about that, that's not really a long time to take to get to branch manager. Branch managers and assistant managers are paid salaries plus commissions, which is paid off the profits of their branch. So the better you perform, the better your paycheck is, the better pay you take back. And after branch manager, you could see here it really opens up. It opens up to many opportunities because these opportunities are the different departments that support our operations. So you might go into sales, or you might want to go into risk management, or maybe HR. Just really depends. I think when you have explored the business and you've had experience knowing about those different departments and what they do, and identifying your skills with your managers, and that's what the one-to-ones, your monthly one-to-ones are going to provide you with lots of feedback. You're going to have lots of options, and you might already start narrowing it down of what you really like or what you kind of don't like and what you won't see yourself doing. And that's fine too. At least you have a specific journey or where you want to get to. And you don't have to stick with that. Just because you set your eye on risk management doesn't mean that you're dedicated, you've got to be there. And once you're in risk management doesn't mean that you've got to stay there. My personal journey took me to sales before I became an area manager. So I went from sales to an area manager. So I didn't go straight from branch manager to area manager. So everyone's journey looks different. And that's a great thing, is that a lot of our career journeys are based on sort of the opportunities and, of course, the conversations we have with our managers to make sure that they know where you want to go. So just to finish up here, we've got 8 skills that I've probably already covered that you will get as working for us as a graduate management trainee or intern. So I've covered this already. Professionalism, you're going to gain fantastic communication skills, both verbal, nonverbal communication. You are going to teach you how to be fantastic and exceeding customers' expectations through our customer service excellences. Customer service is the most important area of our business. So if you have experience working in retail and hospitality restaurants where you're meeting customers, then that's the type of profile we like, and we would love to hear from you and receive your applications, because it really we like to know that you've done this type of work before, that you have that customer service experience. You're going to learn time management, as I mentioned. There's lots of priorities, lots of deadlines. Leadership, obviously, to be a manager, we like to call it leadership. Leadership is more about encouraging others to do things rather than just telling. It's about teaching and motivating employees to be their best. You're going to gain those leadership skills because you're going to be given an area of the business, as I mentioned very early on. So you're going to be given an opportunity to put in your say and to contribute. Emotional intelligence is really important. You'll be gaining that along with marketing and sales. We do local marketing. We have a sales team that might ask you to come along with some of their sales calls. There'll be lots of problem solving, lots of that. No business is business without problems having been rising through maybe the weather or customers. And it's about being flexible and understanding some of the solutions and being creative with some of those solutions. But definitely problem solving is one of the biggest, and of course adaptability. We want we obviously ask for a level of flexibility from you when you join us. But adaptability is something that you'll gain, because no day is the same, no customer is the same, and you won't do the same things every day the same way. Every time it's going to be slightly different. And that's why we ask for flexibility, because you're going to need to be able to be adaptable in the role. So enough about the role. Hopefully that's encouraged you to want to know more about the application process, which is the aim of these sessions, is really to help paint the picture of what the role is, what the company represents. So hopefully you've gained some themes from my talk so far about the company, who we are, what we represent. But now I want to get into the application process. The application process is very straightforward. So it starts with an online application form. So you've all received an invitation today because we haven't received your application for various reasons. Maybe you just needed to learn a little bit more, like today, about the company. You needed to really make sure that you're eligible. So the first step is, after we've met you on campus, is next would be the online application. So those of you that are eligible, meaning you have a full UK manual driving license, unless it's for medical reasons, is to apply online. And I will share the link. We do not require a minimum grade or ask for a specific subject, which is great, because we're open to all subjects and all grades, as long as you are on track to pass for your final year. If you're final year students, some of you have already just recently graduated, as lots of graduations are taking place around this time. If you are called for an interview, which most of you will be unless you aren't eligible, is to find out a little bit more about you, is a virtual interview. You might have a phone interview, phone screen beforehand. That sometimes fits right in between if you just want to gain a little bit more information about your experience or your motivation for applying. But the virtual interview is more of a longer interview. It's about 45 minutes, and we'll ask more about you. More competency-based questions around what you've done in the past. And of course, you want to know, why do you want to work for us? What is it that motivates you to apply? And then if you're successful from the virtual interview, the last final stage is the branch visit. The branch visit will allow you to see for yourself what happens in a day-to-day, but also, can you see yourself in the shoes of the assistant manager and branch manager and the employees? Does it give you a good vibe? Does it give you a good impression? Is that, we're really not very, I don't know any other company that allows you to go into the branch or to go into their business and kind of try that role before you accept the offer. Because that's really important. We want to make sure that you are prepared for what you'll be doing, and we get to see you in action as well. So we'll be giving you lots of advice in the application process. When you apply, there's another session like this, and it brings area managers, and which are our hiring managers and people that are doing the job now, to share with you what a day in the life looks like. So again, this is just a commitment to make sure you do well. So if you're successful, then of course the management trainee offer will come shortly after. So I'm going to go ahead and check for questions, but before I do, I have two asks that I want all of you today, if that's okay. First thing is, I'd love for all of you to follow us on Instagram. We have a fantastic Instagram page that where we post really helpful sessions and blogs and advice from our employees, and you get to see a little bit more as well about insight about the company. So if you are on Instagram, I'd love for you all to give us a follow. So I am looking at the numbers that we have. So I just want to see, oh, I've had a couple already start to follow us. So make sure you do follow us on enterprisemobility.careers.uk. So some of you may have already follow us. But yeah, that's my first ask. So thank you so much. I can see those follower numbers move up. So thank you so much. And then the second is we would love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. This is our main enterprise mobility LinkedIn page. But we have I have another one that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to put it in the chat just after I stop sharing my slides. So those are the two asks today. So follow us on Instagram and connect with me on LinkedIn if you're not already on LinkedIn, just to gain some another connection on your network, and see what we post. I regularly post about our jobs. If I'm at a careers fair, lots of different tools that I'm going to be sharing. So those are the two things I'd ask from you today. So finally, here is my LinkedIn name, Monica Fowler, ERAC. And you can also connect with me after the session today. If I emailed you, of course, you can email me back. I'm going to stop sharing now here and go to some Q&A. So thank you very much for listening. Hopefully that was helpful. Let's have a look at some of the questions that we have. We just have a few minutes to go left in this session. Just thank you very much. Yes, I've seen that, of course. Thank you very much for sharing my LinkedIn, Sam. I appreciate that. Some of these questions I may have covered in the session. I have experience for about 3 years. Is there a possibility of me getting rejected because it's a trainee program? No, not at all. I guess what you're saying is, could you be overqualified? No, there is no time limit that we ask someone to, have graduated. As a matter of fact, I was speaking to someone not too long ago that is looking for a new career, complete career change, and they're middle management. And they've been within their current employer for 10 plus years, and they're willing to go through the training program. As long as you're open and you're willing and you know that this is an entry level role to begin with, and you're willing to put the work in, that perhaps some of it might be, already common knowledge, some of it you may learned, then it's totally up to you. So no, that is not going to be a reason for rejection. We will only, if the only reason, if you are going to be unsuccessful, it would be because you may not have met some of our competencies, the skills that we look for. So the way that and this answers the question that's in the chat, how do we assess, how do we make the assessment, and how do we assess a graduate progression? That's a really good question. So the assessment for interviews is we have 6 competencies. So it's customer service, sales or negotiation, communication, leadership, work ethic, and flexibility. Okay, so the 2 main ones are customer service, and we like that sales or negotiation. The rest we can kind of find through maybe previous work experience, volunteer work, maybe your work projects, things like that. Once you're in the role, the way that we assess you is based on, performance review. So you might have a one-to-one, or you will have a one-to-one. And then, of course, we'll be doing interviews with, or doing one-to-ones, yearly annual appraisals. We all have them. We all have one-to-one. So that's how your performance will be reviewed, and lots of feedback. Unfortunately, our placement roles have all been filled for this year, but next year they will open from as early as October. So only a few more months, and already our placement roles for 2026 will be posted. So please keep an eye out. They are just for the undergraduate students though. So if you're a graduate, if you're a post-grad and you're looking for an internship or placement, unfortunately, this one is just for undergraduate. So just to clarify that. There are a couple of roles that don't involve driving. Again, have a look at our careers website for those. They tend to, they tend to come up throughout the, various times of the year. So it's not just during this time of year that they'll be posted. There'll be new ones. So the best thing to do is sign up for an alert, and then we'll email you as soon as a new opportunity has come up. Students can apply as well. So as long as you have the eligibility criteria that we look for, then yes, you don't have to just be an undergrad to be eligible for the graduate management training program. That eligibility of the internship and placements is just for undergrads only. And yes, so September, October is when our summer internships will be posted. So thank you very much, Sam. I think you've been answering most of these questions for our attendees today. So the driving involved is with your vehicle, with our vehicle, never yours. So you will be asked to take one of our cars to a different location to maybe drop a customer off, maybe pick a customer up with another colleague. There won't be any public transport in the job because obviously we have our mobility, which is our vehicles. So that's how that works. Hopefully that answers the question. You don't need to have specific management experience. It's just more about the transferable skills, as Sam said. So thank you so much, Sam, for answering some of those questions. So I am looking at my the Instagram followers on Enterprise Mobility Careers. Wondered if we can get us to 2,200 tonight. We're on 2,194. Can we gain 6 more? Who's left there to follow us on Instagram? That would be fantastic if you could give us a follow today and just you can talk about that in your interview. So that will really help demonstrate your interest in the role as well. So I think those are all the questions. Thank you so much. I'm going to just scroll to the bottom here. Okay, I've got some LinkedIn invitations, which is fantastic. A few more Instagram followers. It'd be great to have 5 more by the end of the session. I will accept those LinkedIn requests after tonight's session. So thank you so much. If you are already doing a placement somewhere else and you want to apply, obviously this role would in October or September this year is when next year's will open, so you can apply for those roles from the time that the new role the new job role is open. So if you're in employment now, obviously you want to wait until the job is open. If you're currently doing a job now and you want to apply for starting to start this year, we will just need to know when your availability to start will be. And just to clarify, this is not the placement roles for this year have closed. It is for next year, and that's for undergraduate students for the internship. We do summer internships, some summer internships, and 1-year placements, which will be open next year. And if you are an undergraduate student, then you can apply for our graduate management trainee role that will be open in a few months for a 2026 start. There is a separate session for those that enter the application process, and meaning that you finish today and you go and you fill in your application. That's how we'll know that you are in the application process, and we'll contact you to invite you for an interview or let you know if you meet the criteria. So you will be hearing from us. So that's your next steps, is to make sure that you go online and apply. And we do not sponsor after 2 years, I'm afraid. As you've all probably seen, there's been some changes in legislations for employers, and we are not, our entry-level role doesn't meet the criteria for sponsorship. And for postgrad students, there isn't a different session or role. I don't know if that's what you mean, but both postgrads and graduates can apply for the graduate management training program. And just to clarify, international driving license or driving licenses outside of the UK are not eligible. You need to have a full manual driving license to apply for the role at the time of application. Okay, so thank you so much. I think that's covering all the questions. I really want to encourage you to apply. Thank you so much for joining. We've had a good turnout today. This Thursday evening. Please reach out to me if you haven't already on LinkedIn. I will be coming back to you and accepting your invitation. Someone has your hand up. Kahit, you can either send me a message, which I'll answer after the session, or send me a message on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to answer that for you. Um, and let's have a look. Has a question about an internships. Our internships have finished for this year. Next year will be the next opportunity. So best to keep an eye out, sign up for alerts so that we can let you know when those jobs are open because you want to be first to apply. And those are for undergraduate students only. And then for those on a four-year course, what we've done before is if someone does their year in placement, the final year that has worked, we just need to make sure that your university knows about it. It's an undergrad, you're an undergraduate student, and that would obviously need to be communicated to us at the time of application so that we can make sure we follow the right steps during your interview process. Well, thank you again. Want to say thanks again to everybody. Hopefully you found that interesting. Thank you so much for those follows and the LinkedIn requests. Have a lovely evening, and we will hopefully see your application very soon. Have a good evening, everybody.